Welcome to today's show. Again, excited. I have been able to convince a East Coast entrepreneur to join us. I think because we had Sean Kersey on probably 3 or 4 sessions ago. He listened to that as well as a few other ones. Guest today with Rad Property Services has a very interesting story. I'm excited to get in to learn more about the details. We've gone through a little bit in the pregame, but it's an interesting story starting from working with a larger business and then identifying an opportunity of services that this business was going to stop providing or was focused on other things. And there was an opportunity to branch out and do something on his own. That's really where things get started. And he continues to add and look for opportunities. And we'll end today's session with a call out of what he's looking at next. So very interesting story. Again, this is packed with being in the game, identifying an opportunity, and being able to say and take the risk to say, let's jump in and try this out. So without further ado, Rick Jollymore, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here talking on my first podcast ever.
It's brilliant. Don't worry. In about 30 seconds, once we get into your story, any nerves go away and we'll be rocking. When you do the first podcast, when it's your story, it's way easier. Like you're the expert. Like you could tell me just a bunch of crap and stuff that's not true, which you won't, but you could. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like we'll go there. Brilliant. So before we jump into things, and where we like to start is get us to that point where you decided to jump and start building your business, start your business. But before we get there, can you give the listeners a bit of a background on who Rick is?
Yeah, for sure. I started working really young, 14, 15, started in customer service and just odd jobs, always staying busy. Then I just... I kept working. I didn't after high school. I didn't go back. I didn't get any trades. I still regret that to this day.
Still regret it.
Still regret it not getting a trade. But at the same time, things went my direction that I chose to take certain paths. Until 10 years ago, I didn't ever think I'd be self-employed or anything of the sort. But like you said, you take an opportunity and you run. You try it out, see what happens.
Yeah, brilliant. And you're in Halifax, Nova Scotia, living, and I think most of your work and business is within the HRM area? Right on. Okay.
Yeah. Not a big traveler when it comes to work. I like to be home.
Play.
Yeah, definitely. I love travel for play, of course. But when it comes to work, I've never been interested in it. Never been interested in going to Calgary where you are. I wanted to stay home.
Yeah. Hey, and there's work there. So... Yeah. I'm originally from there, so it's at least once a year getting back. And HRM, it's phenomenal. I wish I actually took pictures every time I went back over the last 10 years because it's constant. And it's still, there's lots of challenges too with the old the streets and the traffic's probably as bad as Toronto, even though it's a third of
not much fun.
Yeah.
And it's tiny compared to a major city. But we're pretty busy here now.
Yeah, lots of opportunity. And so you got me interested right away with kind of regretting not doing the trade. I'd say you're, and we'll get into this, but you're doing great. Like this, I love the story. The business is going well. When you think about, I regret not doing that, why is that? Do you think you missed out on an opportunity or?
Yeah, I missed out on an opportunity for, I guess, a lot of different things when it comes to work. As soon as I was out of my 20s, or entering my 20s, I should have went to a trade school then and got it done with. If I was to involve that trade with what I do today, I could be expanded a whole lot more, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a loss. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't have been self-employed doing what I'm doing today.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, you think back and say maybe it could have gone differently, but there's so many what ifs, right? Maybe I wouldn't be in this position. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Great. So let's, if you can, take us back. You came out of high school. You've been working since you're 14. Let's go to the company that you were working with and identified where this opportunity was and the opportunity to jump out. So what did that look like, that first company? And take us right up to the opportunity that you identified.
That was a rope access company that 3 guys departed from a major company decided to start their own business. And one of the owners approached me because he knew I was into window cleaning and pressure washing and working on ropes. So he approached me as as a worker, and he gave me the opportunity to come work for them and see where that leads. That led to pretty much instantly property services lead, it was called at the time, which handled all the quoting, the dealing with customers, the pricing of all jobs. And so I really went in the deep end with them right away, and they provided me a lot of help. Any questions I had, they gave me answers to. They didn't want to see me fail, because if I failed, they would as well.
Right.
So they really helped me in starting that side of it as pricing work, getting to know from window cleaning to the construction side of it. I knew the window cleaning side. I knew I could price all that stuff, but learning to do the other stuff was a challenge in the beginning. But they really provided me with the help I asked for.
Like a good training ground. So you get in with a big company, and they saw good worker. It was a good training ground because you had other opportunities. Being able to get into quoting, you're getting into other sides of the business that they're running as well.
Yeah, I saw a lot more potential in doing that kind of work than just window cleaning and pressure washing and the stuff I knew well and I was good at. I enjoyed it. It was nice hot days outside, and inside of a building, nobody bothers you, nobody talks to you. It's all good, right?
Totally. Put on the jams and just get the stuff done and have fun in the sun. Yeah,
that's right.
And then maybe in the winter, maybe a little bit differently, but at least you're outside of fresh air.
Yeah. It was cleaning the Halifax ferry boats. In the dead of winter, when you see windshield washer freeze on your window, it's time to go home.
Yeah, man.
Can't do nothing then. Good to get out of that side of it and progress in my own ways.
Is it like a construction, a service management company, or property service management?
It was rope access at the very beginning, and that meant like window cleaning on ropes at the time. But they were all involved from their previous company. They were all involved with bigger jobs and bigger work, and much, rope access is very wide and very it goes on oil rigs. That's the guys hanging off the side of the oil rigs, welding, whatever they need to do on the side, and climbing towers, climbing cranes, that kind of stuff. I didn't get involved too much with that stuff. That's what those guys did. They came from the industrial background side of it,
right?
And so they started their own company, and it went from there.
Okay, so from there, you are having success with this company, and where do you jump next, or is this where you identify the opportunity?
Yeah, that's pretty much where I identified the opportunity. I got heavy into, like I said, the quoting and pricing and everything. I got to know the clients really well, and I'd say about 6 or 7 years went by. I was doing that, and we were growing as a company completely. It was going really well, and then a few things happened within the company. They wanted to expand. They wanted to get larger. They hired certain people, put certain people in certain spots, and then I kind of saw some writings on the wall that I wanted to be like, okay, I got to reevaluate this, because this isn't going as smooth as it was.
Sure.
So I was told that they're going to be dropping the property services side, the stuff that I was good at and that I knew. So they told me this, and I said to my employer at the time that, you told me that if ever anybody wanted to start their own company, you would never stand in their way. And I said, I have a contract standing in my way. Gave me this. Can we sign this away and leave? And
so that the contract with the employer, employment agreement.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was ironclad. Like, even the lawyer at the time, he told me there's no getting out of this. I was stricken to 2 years without doing any work in any of the fields I priced.
Right. So non-compete. Part of your
no compete whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I knew that, and so I had to get both owners of the company at that time to sign that contract, void the contract. And so they both did it without hesitation. I told them exactly what I was doing. You guys are dropping this side, and that was, for all the clients. Told them that what I was going to do. They both said, "Have at it, enjoy it, and if you need anything, let me know." Kind of thing. And I really, I was really thankful for them doing that, because they didn't have to. They could have put me in another direction and made me stay within the, that work for the time unless I wanted to go back to customer service and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, and it's great when you've got people you're working with, other owners that kind of champion and kind of push you out to say, yeah, go do that. And maybe we'll get into it in the rest of the story. Did you end up getting more support from them as you went on, or that was kind of pretty much the end? You were off to do your own thing.
No, the one owner, which was a friend of mine, Kyle, he was very supportive the whole time that once I started my company, he, if anything, you need anything, let me know.
Cool.
Very supportive. And if I, had any questions, I called him. He didn't hesitate, right?
Yeah. Or like, I'm doing this wrong or something's gone sideways. He could be a guy to call. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is good to have because usually that comes up.
Definitely. You want friends in this industry no matter what. And the cutthroat side of it, it doesn't work for me. I've never liked it. I don't think it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah. Construction in a general sense of the industry. I've chatted with a lot of owners in construction business over the last 6 months, people that have worked in it, and there's definitely challenges. I guess every segment, every industry has challenges, but yeah, this cutthroat kind of description comes up quite a bit.
It's an often occurrence, right?
Only the strong survive. Okay, so
a lot of times, yes.
Right, yeah. You got a sign off from both of the owners, and you're pumped, you're happy. Are you like 2 weeks notice, you leave, and then what is starting up? Like, what does the leaving look like? What does startup look like? What does day one look like?
I gave the 1 month notice because I felt compelled to finishing all my jobs. It would take a full month to finish everything that I had on the go, like some of the quoting of contracts or whatever the case I was doing. I knew it would take some time. So I gave the month, and that way it allowed me to prepare for my own company.
Nice.
I was able to make phone calls. I was able to start the company with my cousin. He was my partner in the very beginning, and then I was able to make phone calls to all the clients, let them know what was going on, while still having a job and not really having any actual work right away. So that really worked out well, and we went from there. A month later, I was window cleaning, pressure washing, doing some dryer vent cleaning. And
owner operator,
owner operator with the support of my cousin, the 50% owner at the time. He helped me start it. Without him, I wouldn't have a clue how to start a company.
Sure.
And he gave me all the info. He led me down all the right paths. And the biggest advice he gave me was pay your taxes.
That is good advice. It'll catch
advice.
Up to you.
It really will.
Yeah, it's a big one. And so did your cousin, your partner, so it was the two of you, it was a 2-person team to start off. So he had already, sounds like, had a business, or he's kind of running off of that experience. He was
self-employed for a good 10 years before that. And it was him coaching me on, okay, this is what we got to do. This is how we start the company, and this is where we go from there. He wasn't a hands-on worker within our company because he was still making ends meet making money for his family.
Sure.
So he was full-time doing that. So I started off, I was doing all the work in the very beginning all by myself. I had some help from my one of my best friends, Lee. He came when he worked for the company that I worked for just
previously.
Before Rad.
Right.
And so he was working for them, and he'd get off early and he'd come help me for a few hours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And are you paying him like actual money or beer money, or is he just doing it as a favor?
Actual on
okay.
No, on books.
On
books at all. Technical employee on books.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And he's still an employee today.
Yeah, brilliant. One of your go-to guys on the team.
100%.
We'll chat about that too, how you think about growing teams and cycles that you've gone through and how you hire. So when you started this out, you weren't by yourself. You identified the opportunity, something that you're good at, that you wanted to keep doing. And you're surrounding yourself with some people that could help you. So you have like 3 people. You've got a business partner that has done some of this before. They're not fully involved, kind of letting you go and execute on a day-to-day. You've got a buddy, Lee, that ends up being long-term employee with you. And you also have your the old company business owners that are also supporting you. So a lot of support around it. Still, lots of risk as you jump into this. So actually, what year was this that you started? 2015. And I like to call it age. We said we could do this. So I believe you were 33 at the time.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So 33. So we're not talking about 19-year-old startup type of business here. We're talking about,
No.
yeah,
Risking it
trades,
all.
hands work. I wouldn't say mid-career, maybe early mid-career, decide to jump
Pretty
out.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
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 I
I
think
like it.
40 is
Yeah.
mid now. I don't know.
Mm.
I like to articulate that because there are a lot of stories where people, men and women, have gained some experience within their career and then
Hmm.
decide to make that jump.
Hmm.
I think it's interesting, and I think it's a great strategy. You don't have to be very early in your career. You can be mid. You can also be late in your career. In the early days, what did Rad do?
So I started off, I was able to lock down a 3 building contract that I still do today, and we would do the window cleaning, the pressure washing, and the dryer vent cleaning. The window cleaning involved a 40-foot Tucker pole, which is a water-fed pole that cleans windows. I was able to handle that all myself, so I was able to do that whole thing by myself. And then I would do the pressure washing of the underground garage, cleaning the floors, and moving on from there would be the dryer vent cleaning. We'd go through all the units, every individual unit, and clean the dryer vents. We'd make sure everything was still clean when we left. And that was the bulk of the work we did in the very beginning. I really focused on that stuff because that's what I knew coming from previous jobs. That's what I knew I could handle by myself without any real help. And that was the beginning. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So where does that growth start to happen? Is it just you're doing those 3 products? So we've got, no, sorry, I put Tucker pole. I wrote down Tucker pole because I've
Yeah.
seen them cleaning my windows on my house, and I was like, oh, it actually has a name. Interesting. I've learned something new
Yeah.
today, which is great.
Yeah.
So you're doing garages, you're doing windows, you're doing dryer vents. Do you
Hmm.
expand out on the services, or is it just more of those services, and you start to build a team?
Well, I kept with that for a little bit, and then a couple of the clients approached me, and they asked me what else we could do. And well, I mean, we have not just window cleaners and pressure washers. We could do a bit more stuff than that. And I had a family member, one of my wife's family members, come to work for us as well early on. And first, he started off, with the helping out doing window cleaning and pressure washing. But then I knew what he was capable of, and it was a whole lot more than just what we were doing.
Sure.
So I was able to tell the clients that what, we can do your flooring, we can do your kitchens, hang new kitchens, stuff like that. So it started to grow with a lot of flooring jobs. We got involved with some laminate flooring, some glue down or LVT flooring,
Yeah.
and we expanded from there. It started with the floors, like I said, but that expanded to the bathrooms and then the kitchens and
Gotcha.
all through that main company that I started with.
Work starts to pick up.
Hmm.
Walk us through growing of the team.
Well, the hiring process didn't happen too fast. It consistently grew though, from 3 guys to 4 guys to 5 guys. Then we went up to about 8 guys, eight people. Then it was going smooth. It was going well. So we're like, okay, we can handle more work. So they provided more work. They definitely kept giving us more renovations to do for them. And so I just kept hiring at the time.
Yeah, and
Right?
kept
Kept
going.
finding
Okay.
new people. Were people I knew through either just growing up or friends of friends. And it was a
Okay.
lot of that.
Yeah.
I advertised on the websites, the hiring websites here and there. Had a little bit success, but the cost of that didn't really do much. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll find other ways to hire, and it was just the word of mouth.
And it seems to have worked for you. When I think about that and have heard other stories, there can be baggage with that, right? It wasn't all buddy buddy, or did you have a certain strategy around bringing these people in?
Yeah, well, there was no strategy really. We needed work done, and I hired people that
Trust.
that I trusted.
They trust.
Exactly. Lee was, like I said, my first employee, and I've known him my whole life. So it was, we've always gotten along. We don't argue.
Yeah.
We have bickering words back and forth. Um, but at the same time, we still know each other, that this
Yeah.
is work. you know
Yeah.
let's
Work
let's
hat on, not play. Let's
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
that's right, exactly.
Get her done. Yeah, brilliant. So you can maybe bicker a little bit. That's a very light word, but bicker a little bit. But at the end of the day, you can go grab a beer or whatever.
100%.
Yeah, right on. Coming to the financial side, what did that look like? Did you have to go out and was it capital intensive? Essentially, is what I'm getting at. Did you have to go get a bunch of money?
I started originally on $5,000 for myself and $5,000 for my cousin.
Okay.
That's how we
Wow.
started originally. We went through that really fast. But at that point, I was and faster than I could have imagined. It was like, wow. So yeah, it was hard to start with that little amount but we knew what we were doing. Like I said, the window cleaning and the pressure washing. I went and bought a pressure washer. I went and bought my own window cleaning gear. I had gear from previous, just life, just
Yeah,
buying
sure.
my own tools over time, right? So I had some stuff to start that way. But to the growth side of the financial side, I've never taken a single loan. I never took
Wow.
a single loan from the government. I never took a single loan from the bank. Of course, I went out and got the credit, like the credit cards and the guaranteed funds in your bank account. I dipped into that guaranteed fund once for like $2,000 when I was going through payroll, of course. But that was all set up that way. Other than that, I just didn't want to take debt on other than vehicles, really.
Sure. Okay. And like guaranteed funds, is that like a line of credit type of thing? Like you've got
It's
50
it's
grand or
pretty much a
something?
line of credit,
Okay.
but you can't dip into that line of credit, that credit line, until you have $0 in your bank account.
Okay. It's kind of like a
Yeah,
overdraft tool or something.
it pretty much is a $50,000 overdraft.
Okay. You can go
Yep.
to minus 50. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
That's right. What I would call it as bootstrapped. You're not going out to raise dollars, get any equity. You get this overdraft type tool, which is
Yeah.
good for the
It was just a tool. It was protection.
cash
I
flow
looked at a
issues.
protection.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get into it if I didn't have to, because of course you want money in your bank account as a business and
Yeah.
as a growing business, especially with, you got to pay your taxes, because if you don't pay your taxes, you get shut down. But you got to pay your staff. If you
Yeah.
don't pay your staff,
They don't show
they
up.
leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you
Totally.
got to make sure they're taken care of before yourself. And that was
Yes.
the biggest thing. My wife and I went through some, I don't want to say hard times, but she helped pay the bills when I first started the company. She protected both of us that way,
You had a
because
buffer.
she had a full-time job. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was really good that way, and she was willing to take a chance. She didn't even question it. She said,
Yes.
"This what's once you want to do, we go for it."
Yeah, and that is the world of startup. So you put that $10,000 in, it goes quickly. You're probably not
Hmm.
taking any paycheck really to start. That's just the cost of getting things going and getting cash
That's
flow
right.
running. And in your market, has it changed how payment terms look like from when you started to now? Like,
Yeah, for the clients that I was dealing with, they knew I was a new company. They knew I was a small, just startup company. So they were really good in paying within 2 weeks to a month, we'll
oh,
say.
brilliant, which
And then I
helps.
then I did pick yes, exactly. Then I did pick up a couple clients that did take the 90 to 120 days to pay. Uh, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think it's not needed. It isn't needed. It doesn't take you 120 days to pay a $5,000 bill,
Yeah, and like
right?
I'm not your bank. Like that's not my
Yeah.
business. So
Exactly.
let's not do
I
this. Yeah.
can't go in and get my car fixed and pay for it 30 days later. What's
And
the
if I do, it's on a
difference?
credit card, and they're taking 22% or
Yeah,
18% or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah,
Then you're paying extra on that. So you're getting robbed both ways.
yeah. It's actually a hot topic these days, at least out west and in Alberta. There's been new legislation put through around this, and it's exactly right. It's like stop playing the
I
game.
like that.
Not every, but
Yeah.
like stop playing the game of making small business wait even up to
Hmm.
a year to get paid. Like this
Hmm.
is like it's not good for the economy. So, well,
No,
that's
it's
good
not.
because getting 30 days or 2 week payment is
Yeah.
really helpful with cash flow as you're starting up the
It was a
business.
huge help to start because I was able to, that's how I was able to hire and buy tools consistently,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Exactly. I think in our pre-chat, you kind of provided a story that things really started to take off, more opportunity happened. What did
For
that look
sure,
like?
pretty much. So probably about a year before COVID, it really took off,
Okay.
and that's where I expanded from the 8, 9 employees to all the way to the 22. And so the current the client I had at the time, or I have, they just wanted to do apartment renovation after apartment renovation. Everybody that moved out, they were doing apartment renovations. They were waiting 30 days for us to go in and do the full reno, and they would we close it after the 30 days. it would be rented the very next day.
Oh,
So yeah, so they really improved all of their buildings for their residents and all of the apartments, and put in washers and dryers for themselves, for the residents, so they got to
like tenant
live.
improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, they really put a lot of time and effort into expanding their apartments.
That's what you're talking about with those cycles. It's, someone's in for
Yes.
a year or 5 years or whatever it may be. And then if there's an end of the lease or rental agreement, then they're doing a property enhancement for 30 days or whatever it takes. And then they're probably, I think that's part of the business is you improve it, you bring up pricing, and then someone else
Yeah.
comes in. Right. And they've got
That's right.
units
That's
everywhere.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody was moving out and buying homes in 2020 into COVID. That was really the big boom that started everybody from buying their own homes.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody was doing. They were, moving out of their apartments and buying new homes.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. You took advantage of that, growing the business. Did you like it? So you're going from like
No.
9-ish people to 22?
Yeah.
No.
No. Didn't like it at all. It's
more
not
money.
about the money.
It was more money.
It was more money. It was more, yes, all that stuff is great. But the stress level of having 22 employees with 20 apartment renovations for 1 month, it wasn't just me stressed out. It was all my employees.
Okay.
They all cared. Like I really will give them all the credit in the world. Most of them, I should say, that was working for me at the time. They cared. They wanted to make sure we met our deadlines. We only had a month, so we
Yeah.
had to meet our deadlines. People were moving in. These were already rented. People had nowhere else to go. If
Right.
someone they had nowhere else to go, then they had to get a hotel, and we would have had to pay for it, or the client would have had to pay for it, and that would have been acceptable by anybody.
Yeah. So when I think about projects from my experience, you have usually talk about 3 variables. You have price, time, and quality. And usually you'll hear this analogy. It's like you can pick 2, but you can't have 3. But in your
That's right.
case, you're pretty much, you are held to 3. Like your time cannot change.
You gotta be. No.
Price is fixed. So there's risk there for you probably, I would say,
Mhm.
right? Like, are you do you bid these things on fixed price, or are they like time and material?
There's pretty much a fixed price with them, but if there's something that comes up is unforeseen,
Like,
they don't question my honesty on it.
yeah,
They're
reasonable.
great with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to make sure that all the other companies get paid too properly, and that's one of the big things about why I've stuck with
Yeah, great
this
partner.
client. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a perfect partner for 9 years now.
Yeah, yeah, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at your customer distribution, which
Yes.
what do they represent on like a total revenue percentage?
I'd say a good 60 to 70%.
And coming from my current day job, looking for a great small business to buy, that is one of the criteria that is of warning to people searching for businesses, saying, yeah, like if you have customer concentration, and typically the number is anything over 20-25%, be cautious. It's lots.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right. Because if the whole idea is to play this out for listeners is makes sense. If you lose that one customer, that is extremely painful.
Right.
A lot of great businesses have that 50 to even up to 70% revenue concentration with one customer. But it's more, you get into how long has that relationship been around, what different services are provided to that customer, how many different decision makers are in the business. There's a lot more to it than just that percent of revenue. It's like, how sticky is it? So then you've got that one that's representing a good chunk of revenue for the business. And then how do you have another like 5 or 10 customers that are like the regulars? And then what does that look like?
Yeah, we have a good 5 to 10, other customers that call us frequently. I don't say no too often. I want to make sure we still keep these other customers happy as well. Because if something did happen to the major client, that I have this as backup.
Yes.
This is it's really backup for me and protection. It's the protection backup. If anything does happen to this one client, that I can definitely keep my employees going and moving. And you gotta have something there, a buffer at least, that you can make some phone calls. Be like, I have some free time. You want some work done?
Yeah. What do you have? Yeah. And you already have those relationships built. So it would be a lot tougher if, you're just working for one or two businesses. Is there, what happens? Like, was there a breaking point?
There was a few. Like I said, the money was no problem. I didn't have any financial issues whatsoever. Everything was paid at all times. No problem whatsoever. It was the time management that it was getting really difficult to make sure everything was getting done. That was very stressful on, like I said, myself and the guys and the team. I didn't want to see my team stressed out and arguing with each other. That would just ruin everything. So I know a couple guys were starting to leave and branch off to do their own thing and stuff like that. So I kind of took that as another opportunity. Okay, you keep core guys, you keep core guys, core people, your core team happy.
Yeah.
And that's really where I'm comfortable now. The team I've had for almost 9 years is, a few people. Everyone within my company now, there's 9 of us at the present moment. One is, one of my best friends. He's been with me since day one. Another is a carpenter. I was buying a tool off Kijiji, a table saw, and he's been with me for almost 6 years. Friends growing up with, Mike. He's been with me for 7 years now, almost 8. Jesse's been with me since probably day 10, we'll say.
Wow.
He was like the 4th employee.
Oh.
Colin, he's Lee's little younger brother. He needed an opportunity, and I was like, okay, I know what you're capable of. And I actually didn't know what he was capable of until he showed me the work he could do. And he's been with us for 6 years now, I believe.
Yeah.
6 years, yeah.
So during those times, this brings us up to just post-COVID. Any really difficult scenarios that you had to go through?
Difficult scenarios. I really didn't let us get to a point of difficulty. And I say me, but it really all the team, they made sure the work was getting done. They made sure that the work was up to the quality that we all expect and the clients expect.
Yeah.
So we've never put each other in a difficult situation when it comes to them not having work or the company not having money, in a sense.
Right. Okay. Good. That's good. What about you were quick to say when I talked about the 22 people? You're like, no, I don't. I was making money, sure, but I hated it. So there's something there. What was the breaking point?
What was the breaking point? I would say just the stress level that was happening. That was where we all went to. I was arguing with some of my team members, my friends. The guys that weren't in the company long, they weren't as happy as they were. So that's the big thing is if you're not happy in your job, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Find a way to go somewhere else. And you may only be happy for a few months, but you need at least that happiness that you're not arguing with each other at work, or you're not hating. You don't wake up in the morning and hate to go to your job.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I don't want that for any of my team or myself. And I was hating getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going straight through till 10 o'clock at night.
Right. Okay. So it was a lifestyle change too. Did you think about other options, which might have been who I bring in, I'll say a general manager to take on more of this from me? I can focus on maybe growing the business larger. Maybe I bring in some foremen to help alleviate some of the stress within teams. Like anything, I'm poking at that growth. Like, why didn't you go growth and like bring, I'm thinking people to fix some of those problems. Maybe there's other ways to do it.
I was able to bring a couple guys in that knew the business, the industry really well. And they just weren't the people that I wanted to grow with. I found out what they were like and a few different things that I didn't like as a business owner. And I wouldn't continue that way. And it made me open my eyes to be like, okay, what do I really want to do? Where do I really want to go with this? I don't want 100 employees. I don't need $1 million in my bank account. If I can go anywhere that I want to go in the world at the moment, I'm happy doing that.
Totally. I love that. I actually think we just got our title or part of our title for this podcast. I think it's catchy.
I like it.
It's good.
Yeah, you need to enjoy. You need to enjoy the work. If you don't want to go to work every day, nobody wants to go to work every day. Nobody. But if you hate it, find a different path.
Do something else.
And I had a couple employees said to me, I hate going to my job today. And I said, there's no hard feelings here whatsoever. please give me your 2 weeks notice and move on.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah, totally. I love business owners and managers that think that way. It's just having that good fit, because a good fit is just, it's good for the business. It's good for the people. It
I
totally
believe
makes
it's
sense.
everything.
Yeah.
You got to fit in with the team members. You got to fit in with the clients. You got to fit in with the work itself. And everybody can. We just got to find the roots. Once I scaled back down, I realized that this is where I want to be. This is I want to have options to play hockey in the afternoon, or I want to take my dogs out in the woods at lunchtime.
Yes.
I could do that now, right? So working every single day in the field and then working every night at home really takes everything out of you.
Yes.
So you want to continue. You want to find the path that your happiness, in a sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Not true happiness, not all of it, but as long as you're not hating your job, you don't want to hate your own company. You don't want to not want to go to work with your own companies.
Yeah.
Once I found that and knew the team members I did have, that we could be successful with the team we have, then it was moving from there.
Yeah, building it your way.
And I'll always take, like you said, the challenges. The challenges are a biggest thing, because you don't want to, if you're not growing, you're dying, in a sense. Yeah. You've got to always grow as a company, but you can grow as just the stuff that you do with the employees you do, because you can, you grow with the team you have.
Yes, that's important. Like, not every business is focused on growth. That's totally fine. Mm-hmm. What is the objective? What's the culture of the business? Is it a lifestyle that you're trying to achieve? Or is it a mixture of several things? Which it's all about having that vision, I think, is extremely important, right? So today you're off the tools. You're managing, you're doing the business development, some customer relations. Is there anything else there? And I guess, how long have you been off of the tools?
Well, it would be 4 years in December that I didn't touch a tool in the field. Right? Yeah. I will at home and all that stuff at home. So, but
I haven't lost it. Yeah.
If I'm in the field with the guys, I'm probably more distracting than they are. If I'm not there, then I'm not critiquing everything. I'm not starting conversation, because nobody's going to tell me to shut up.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to say, go back to work.
Yeah.
So, I was able to stay there, but I had the trust in my whole team that allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Until yesterday, actually, I didn't climb a ladder on a job site. And yesterday I was doing some ladder work, and we had to do some siding repairs for a client, and someone other than our major clients, like I said, keeping the relationship, getting work done for other clients as well. Right. So I had to go do it. And Lee and Colin were with me, and they had some digs in there.
I was going to say, first time, how are the hips doing? How the hips doing? Yeah,
exactly. Right. Definitely got their digs in there, but everything worked well, and it was a smooth day for me. And I went home, and I was happy that I actually climbed a ladder for first time in a couple of years.
Yeah, the small things in life. Yeah, and your knees aren't hurting you today. It's good.
Everything was done great, and nobody got hurt. We all went home perfect.
Yeah, right on. I like that. You lead with trust, for sure. I think people will understand that with the conversation today. But you had, some people not even give you notice when leaving, even a lawsuit. Love to get an idea of what other people have gone through. So if you're open to it, let's chat about those.
Yeah, for sure. The lawsuit was very early on, and it was an advertising mistake we made. We were paying, in my opinion, we were paying too much money. If someone looked us up on this app, they would get a different phone number than my phone number. So then they would call that phone number, and it would connect to mine. And the advertisement company said, I received this many phone calls in the last 3 months. And I said to them, I received 3. It wasn't 82 that you believe it was.
Sure.
Advertising for you doesn't work for me. And it was, like you said, a generational thing when it came to this specific company. The younger generation, they Google.
Yeah, totally. So right? Yeah, it was like an older product solution. And it sounds like, so were you paying like on 82 clicks, maybe you made that up, but like were you paying per, not click, were you paying per phone call essentially that went through their system, and you're just not seeing
No,
that
it was
return?
a monthly contract. It was
Okay,
it was a yearly contract, but it was
monthly payments.
they would yeah, monthly payments. But they had their, if you would call and be like, well, I haven't received any calls, so I don't want to advertise with you guys anymore. They would say, well, you've received this many phone calls. And it was a very high number compared to what it
Oh,
actually
I
was.
gotcha.
And so I didn't agree with that. So I said, okay, I don't want this anymore. I'm canceling you guys right now. And of course they said, you're under contract. You have no choice but to pay. And then I said some stupid words, as in I brought up a lawyer. And as soon as I brought up a lawyer, they canceled my contract, or canceled the call pretty much at the time. And then I got a letter in the mail saying you have to pay what's remaining of your contract, and we'll settle for this much right now.
Oh, brutal, brutal.
So I said, you know what, the settlement was probably half of what the contract would have been. So I'm like, you know what, it's not working. I'll take this, and I'll say see you later.
Okay,
And I definitely had to work it off. It hurt the bank account very early on.
because it was early. Yeah,
But
early.
yeah, it was within the first year, that's for sure.
Yeah, brutal. It's unfortunate these things happen,
Yeah,
right? You make
and
mistakes.
this is at the time where probably a month after myself and my partner went different ways. I decided to buy him out. He actually brought it up to me that, no, we're family. We want to stay family. We don't want any arguments. So he's like, if you could buy me out for this much money. It was his original investment plus half of the receivables at the time. I'm like, well, you're part of the company, so you know what? I have zero argument, and I knew what I was capable of in growing my company from there on out. So I took the opportunity. Look, okay, if that's what we agree to, then cool.
Okay,
So I
okay,
paid him off. He gave me, he said, just pay me a couple dollars here and there. So I made it a point to pay him off within 2 months.
okay,
It
okay.
was a good amount of money, and I paid him off really quickly. And I wanted to get that. I didn't want to debt with a family member
Yeah,
that way, right?
for sure, for sure.
So I wanted to make sure he was taken care of fairly, and he was the same way. He didn't want to take what 50% of the company could have been worth, in a sense,
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah. So
I
reasonable
think he
on
was
where
very
things
fair.
at
It
now.
was very,
Yeah,
yeah, in my
yeah,
opinion, at the time, it was very reasonable for what we grew together. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have been able to see the opportunity, I should say, not
yeah,
just take it. I probably wouldn't have been able to see the opportunity.
yeah. But now things are good. Things are running. They've been running well
Things
for
are
many,
things are
many years.
smooth. Things
Yeah,
are in. I'm enjoying this.
I can
I
tell. It's good.
actually enjoy. I'm waking up earlier and doing my own thing for the first little bit. My guys are my team is. They all seem happy. I was able to give every one of them a raise this year. Very early on this year. Like, I'll hopefully give them more money later this year.
Yeah,
And so I was able to do that for them, because they had a very, very great start to the beginning of the year from January, February, March. And usually, they would get the raise, the May 1st raise kind of thing.
sure.
They got it in April this year, for instance,
Brilliant.
because the beginning
Because
of the
they're
year was really
delivering.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were all delivering. When I went down to the 8, 9, 10 employees, that's really, really where I noticed the loyalty from some employees,
right.
the wanting to do good work. They know their name is on this now because all of our clients know them by name.
Right, right,
Every
right,
one of them.
right. Yeah.
Every one of them. They can walk in to one of the apartments that we're working on, and they know everybody there.
Yes. Yeah. So there's this ownership of work, and they
Yes,
see the feedback loop too. So they're really bought
definitely.
into it, which is great.
Yep.
Maybe nothing here, but did you see a change in the positive of your earnings or gross margin when you went from like that crazy time of 22 employees down to this really well operating smaller team? Like, did you see efficiencies?
Yeah, the efficiencies were way better because they weren't stressed out and they weren't putting in 15-hour days.
Making
A
mistakes
couple
and
of the guys put in those 12 to 15-hour days a few times over and over and over. And, we wouldn't see the mistakes. We would see the better work, the cleaner work in the end. And the all around, nobody's arguing.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
there
less
alone,
bickering.
if you're not arguing with your fellow employees, that's huge.
Yeah,
You see it all the time where office settings that people bicker back and forth, and there's emails that this person did that, this person did that. This is, these my team members. If there's an issue, most of the time they handle it themselves. If
Yeah.
I have to get involved, I will, but nothing is major right now. Nothing, they all get along really well.
Yeah. And
they don't mind. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. They don't mind.
They don't mind driving each other home if someone needs a ride, or picking each other up
Sure.
if someone can't get to work because their car broke down, or their wife had to leave for work early.
Which is nice. You're not getting these calls.
People, they will go out of the way for each other.
Yeah. 4-day work week. We hear this pop up in the news regularly. Like, when are we all moving to a 4-day from a 5-day? It's way more efficient. So you guys, you've been doing it for many years now, have you not?
No, we actually just started probably about 10 months ago, I would say now.
Guys find out.
We had the idea for years, but a lot of team members had problems with like finding babysitters at the right time, figuring all this out. And I always said it was all or nobody. It had to be an all team thing, because it doesn't work if six team members are doing a 10-hour day, and then the other guys are doing an 8-hour day, and then working Friday as well. Because if the project managers are off on Fridays, how do we get how do 100% do we get things done? It doesn't work well. So it was a struggle to get it started, but once we got it started and all the team was on pace for it, or they all jumped on board for it, we tried it, and I let the clients know that this is what we're going to be doing, because we're in and out of apartment buildings. So how the team works is they save their quiet work for the first thing in the morning. So we're not interrupting the residents that are living in the building, right?
I see. Because sorry, may I miss that? You've elongated your Monday to Thursday work day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are your hours?
Yes.
You go
7 to 5 would be,
Yeah, sure.
6, yeah.
Instead of like an 8 to 3 or whatever.
We do 10-hour days, and however the team wants to figure it out. Sometimes they skip lunch, and so they're good that day to work straight through 10 hours. They'll take their breaks, of course. They all have that.
Yeah.
But depending on what time they got to get off, it would be, what would it work out to? 7 to 5:30 would be our scheduled work day. Some of the team starts at 6 and they get off at 4:30 or 4.
Right. There's flexibility,
and I'm okay with that. However they want to work that out with each other, that's cool. As long as it's not affecting the people living in the building and the clients.
Yes.
And some clients that we have to start later, the guys will just start somewhere else and then move to a new job, just to work out with time. But
gotcha.
It's been very successful with them. They love it. My whole team loves it. They don't want to go back to a regular 5-day, because I've given them all warnings. If this doesn't work, if guys aren't doing their 40 hours still, then we have to do the 8-hour days.
And everyone's going back to it. Yeah. Because it's binary. Right, exactly. It's one way or the other. Yeah.
That's right. So the 10-hour days, it's a long work day, but you get used to it very fast.
We touched on, you're always looking for the challenge. What's the next step you're looking at?
Next step is really moving forward with the talents they have. Every one of them are so good at what they do, but we do a lot of the same work month in and month out. Years and years go by, people get bored. I don't want to see them get bored. I don't want the current team I have, I don't want to see them go anywhere unless it's to succeed better. And that's the only catch with that. I want them to stick around for the long haul, unless they find something better for them, of course.
Yes.
But I really want to expand to some custom bathrooms. We've done a few in the last few months. Mine included. We worked on mine a bit, and we were able to put up a really, in my opinion, my wife's opinion, a really nice bathroom.
That'll be the real test.
And I see the potential there when it comes to what we can do, what the team is capable of.
Right on.
And it's not just one thing in the same thing day in and day out. They have their own ideas for designs. They have their sites set on a little bit more, and I want them to make more money. They, when you do the same thing in and out, the money kind of stays, at a certain pace.
Yeah.
Now we can increase our prices, and we can increase our wages over time, like anything else. But with more difficult jobs, I believe they can make more money for themselves. They can make more money for the company, and I think that would make everybody happy in that way, because everybody wants to make a few dollars more.
Sure.
Where you want to make a couple dollars more.
Yeah.
So
but there's two things there. It's make more money opportunity, which is great. Everyone will take that. But it's also this challenge, right? You've got skilled people, individuals on your team, and they're like, let's push them a little farther.
Yeah.
So
That's
let's
right.
take the
Exactly.
opportunity.
I don't want them to get bored. I don't
Yeah.
want them to get bored at all in doing
Yeah.
what they're doing. And so I feel if I can expand into some custom residential bathrooms, which will hopefully go into custom residential kitchens.
Sure, sure,
But
sure,
that's
sure.
really where it starts. Is I find we can do the bathrooms because we have a tile setter in Mike, we have carpenters, and we have people that can do stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? They can actually they take pride in their work. They take pictures after every single job. Pictures are free. They'll all laugh at that because they all make fun of me for that. So, but
For
that's one of
marketing.
the things.
Yeah, totally.
Take your pictures, right? And so they take their pictures of the jobs they finish, and they're proud of that, right?
Yes.
This is what I did. They show
Yes.
their friends or show their wife or show their kids.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
We did
Yeah.
this work, right?
Yeah.
And if we
It's
can do
fun.
that with some bathrooms and make some people really happy within their residential homes
Yeah.
when they get new bathrooms, then
Yeah,
it's a good thing
I've
all
been
the way
there.
around.
Totally. Yeah, it sounds like a great plan. So that's a plug. So if anyone's listening, HRM area, we're not going to Calgary, no
Yeah, we
Calgary
don't expand
customers,
too
but
far.
and you need a bathroom done, reach out to Rad. So I have to poke on this before we close things out. I have to do research on everyone that I have on the show. So I typically go to LinkedIn and look for a company. I was like, holy crap, I can't, like, did he give me the right name of the business? I can't find it.
Yeah.
Then I finally found it, and I have to share this. Maybe you'll tell me to take it off later, but
Please.
I'm going to share my screen. So first you Google it, and Rad Properties has been permanently closed. It's no longer open for business.
I just found that out the other day.
Yeah. And then secondarily, this is a great landing page on Facebook. It's the only place you can really find the business, and it tells you a lot with 11 likes and 12 followers. So I'm obviously poking a little bit because you made my job a little bit harder.
I like it.
But like being a little bit serious, you've built a great business. You've built it the way you want to. You have it the size that you want it to be. You're having fun. You're looking at expanding. And you're not taking advantage or having to even deal with any social media, landing pages. Dang, the whole public domain thinks that you're shut for business. Like things are just working, right? There's lots of businesses like this. And I just wanted to point that out. So it's not a bad thing. I joke about it, but it's not bad.
No, it's not a bad thing at all. I'm not big into social media. I'm not big into the paying for advertisement when I have a lot of friends that, would call me to do their bathroom.
Yeah, totally.
If they wanted to, if like hockey. Hockey was a great meeting point for a lot of people, getting new work through people you meet at sports, but keeping the customer service side, making sure the client gets, everything they need. If you make your client's job easier, they'll make your life easier by continuously giving you work and not calling anyone else because they trust you.
Yes.
So I haven't needed to advertise again since the original lawsuit. I didn't want to. I was kind of like, why would I pay them to do something that I can go out and cold call and walk into a couple places if I needed to? Originally, I did that. I don't feel the need to do it at the moment. I may need to again in 6 months, a year, 10 years. And if I have to, I will. But if I can avoid that and stay comfortable and stay happy, I have nothing else to ask for.
Focus on the things that matter, right? And in your business, if you're not trying to grow like crazy, which you're not, where do you need to be focused? It needs to be on your current customers, and you get more work through current customers. So focus on that. They're not obviously looking at this. If they were,
that's right,
they would think you're closed for business. So it doesn't matter.
But I haven't even, besides, there was a website company that wanted to do a website for me, and I gave them the go ahead to do the sample website. I looked at it. I was like, okay, I don't want to pay for anything extra. So he said, one of the customer service reps that called me back, he says, man, you're closed for business. And I said, what? So I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. Obviously hasn't, in my opinion, hurt me at all. It may have taken some jobs away that people would look at, that they'd call me for, but they see them permanently closed. But it hasn't hurt anyway in I don't know how long it's been closed. I'd like to actually know of the closing date.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe something we'll see in the future. And well, Rick, this has been great. Is there anything that we missed that you wanted to touch on today?
I think we're good. This was nervous at first, but I got a little comfortable there, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. Hopefully, no offense to you, but hopefully Joe Rogan calls me next.
Hey, no problem. I share the same haircut, and that's about all I've got.
If you have the opportunity to go out on your own and take 100% of the risk and bet on yourself.
I
go
like
for
that.
it.
Good
Right?
way to
It's
end
worth
it.
it in the
Yeah, go. Net. There's going to be bad, there's going to be good, but net, it's good. It's positive. Awesome. This is a lot of fun and all the
It was a
best.
great time.
Hopefully we can catch up in maybe 6 months or a year and see how
I'd like
the
it,
bathroom
for sure.
business had.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. All right, Rick. Well, thanks again.
Excellent, John.
And look forward to chatting again soon.
Definitely. You
All
have a
right.
great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.